Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. I am Sean Anderson, Most Valuable Podcast, and the upcoming segment is from our full Fast Break podcast that we recorded. And if you do want to check out that full podcast, head over to Blog Talk Radio/The Fast Break. You'll be able to find the full podcast over there.
This podcast is brought to you by Most Valuable Podcasts, leading the league in podcasting entertainment.
What's up, everybody? Ricky Widmer here, not Sean Anderson. What's up, because it's back, Dave Oster across the table from me.
What's up, everybody? It feels good to be on a hate-free zone here.
You said it.
We're full-blown WPN.
We are full-blown WPN today with the governor, Ben, there. I like Sean.
Ben, can't wait for the first comment.
Sean wasn't giving you the respect, so I got to do it. Hello, governor. And the WPN is back. What's up? It's so great to be back, Dave.
It's
so great to be back.
I'm happy you're here. I'm happy. Again, I felt like Sean just really was harshing on the What's Up Nation. Mm-hmm. You got to love it for what it is. You got to embrace it because there's no getting past it.
It's great. You've joined it. Mark, if you watch the Ask MVPs, he's always What's Up.
Yep.
Brandon's a part of WPN. Johnny is a part of WPN. Sean's just got to get with the times and join the WPN.
Yep.
Mike's even a part of WPN as I've been on Behind the Pen. But we got a great Fast Break podcast for you guys. We're going to be talking about 4 different topics today, not the normal 3. I'm giving you an extra
bonus
one,
content.
a bonus one as the host, special host, Ricky Widmer here. And we're going to be looking at LaMarcus Aldridge, kind of his injury. How does that affect the Spurs title hopes? We're going to look at the playoffs. First in the East, Mavericks and Blazers fighting for that 8th spot. Then we're going to look at the Eastern, or the West first, then the East with the Bucks, the Bulls, and the Heat, and then we'll round it out. Tournament time's coming up, so we got to talk about some prospects that need a big March Madness tournament to help their draft stock. But Dave, we're going to look at LaMarcus Aldridge first. Going to be out indefinitely because of a minor heart arrhythmia. How does this affect the title hopes? I'm getting right to it. How does this affect the Spurs title hopes?
Look, it's hard to say right now because it is indefinitely, and this is a known condition pre-existing that LaMarcus has had kind of his, I think since high school, before he was even went to college, he knew about this. So it's a big hit for the Spurs team because as an organization, you want to make sure your players are healthy first and foremost. Now, just to clarify, this isn't as scary as the Chris Bosh situation. So it is still a heart condition, but less serious as the Chris Bosh one. The big thing to take away here is he's had this happen in the past. He's been out for a couple weeks at a time in the past from this. The big thing is he should be back. We're hoping, playoffs or right around the first round, maybe at the worst case scenario, if everything goes, according to schedule. So it might derail their hopes for that first seed because that was the thing. Like, man, they were just salivating at the thought that we're watching the Warriors have some troubles as Kevin Durant out means a whole lot more problems for this team.
Steph Curry
Steph is struggling.
Steph Curry.
Clay is struggling. What are they going to do? We got to rest our hopes on Matt Barnes. But so the Spurs had that wide open shot. And then within the last, literally 2 days, we've watched Kawhi, who has been an absolute killer after that break. He came back rejuvenated and
MVP discussion too.
Absolutely worked his way in there. He goes down with concussion. I think it took an elbow to the head. So they're going to play that one safely. Obviously, we hope the best for him. I know personally as a Bulls fan, we watched McDermott go out for quite an extended period of time due to his concussion earlier this year. So hopefully it's a quicker return for Kawhi, but then they go out and they lose LaMarcus due to this heart condition. It's not great for the Spurs. The good thing is they're a deep team. They're a playoff savvy team still. They've got some of the veterans on that team. They don't really have to worry too much. They're in a good spot. They're only a game and a half behind the Warriors, and they still have, I think, a 6-game lead on the Rockets. So they're solidly in there at the 2. They can kind of try it out the rest of the season, see how it goes, and no rush on Kawhi, no rush on LaMarcus. Take your time.
To me, the big thing is it's the Kawhi part of it is, it sucks having both of them out.
Yep.
Like I read to you before we started recording, the 4 games that the Spurs have played without Kawhi and LaMarcus, they're 2-2 in those 4 games.
Yeah.
And they lost the first 2. They've won the last 2. They'll play the 5th one tonight as we are recording this podcast on Saturday. And to me, it's not the regular season really doesn't matter in this case. Because like you said, it kind of mattered with both of them because you could fight for that 1 seed.
Yep.
But now that LaMarcus is out indefinitely, Kawhi's in the concussion protocol.
Yes.
If I'm Popovich, I'm saying, okay, I got to rest the players. I'm going into rest mode to make sure that we stay above the Rockets.
Yep.
But it's one of those things where it's like we're going to try to half-heartedly fight for that 1 seed. Because
Yeah, absolutely.
the thing that I also want to throw out there is the Spurs, they don't need the 1 seed to be competitive in the playoffs right now. They do not need that 1 seed. It's not like where in the East, if let's say they were 1 game behind the Cavs like the Wizards are, it's not like, oh, we need that 1 seed so that we can avoid Boston and Toronto and not have to play them until the finals game, or Cleveland and Boston until that finals game. The Spurs are like, hey, in our mind, if we do our job, we'll meet the Warriors in the Western Conference Finals, and it'll be 1 and 2. The only thing that's different are the home games, but we'll beat them wherever they are. They have that kind of confidence. The LaMarcus thing, though, it's out indefinitely. That has me kind of a little worried because, like you mentioned, I want to say you said it was from Reddit. They said, well, the last time he had this, he was out 2 or so weeks.
Yep.
That's not confirmed. It's not like, oh, he'll be out that long and then come back.
No, it's I think because of the procedure or whatever medications he's going to go on, you obviously can't be playing, and they need to keep a careful watch on him. So I think that, again, there's no rush from the Spurs organization to get him back out there on the court.
There is, like, right now, they're like, you hear all the insiders, they're like, well, we even asked Coach Popovich, and Popovich is like, I don't know if he'll be back. It's one of those things where the Spurs
this was pretty much breaking news about an hour before we started.
Spurs are going to let him do his thing, and I don't think they are. Well, I know they're not going to rush him back to the court before he is ready.
Of course
So
not.
it's one of those things where, how long is he out? And here's the question you get to. What if he misses playoff games? Because that's a possibility. This isn't going to be something where it's like, okay, in a month we're going to reevaluate him. He'll be back, kind of like the KD side of it was with his knee. This could be something where you mentioned Chris Bosh. I know it's not as serious as that one, but that was also another one where it was like, oh, he'll be back. We're looking for this. And then push and push.
Yeah.
There's that possibility.
I mean, there's a chance there. Any medical condition with the heart is scary and serious in its own right.
For anybody.
Regardless. So obviously we wish the best for him, and we hope that he is able to come back this season. And I really think it's one of those cases where the Spurs, as an organization, they're like top of the line. They're the model of consistency. They're basically like the Patriots of basketball. Every year they're in the playoff picture. Every year they're winning 50-plus games. You don't have to worry about it. So I think they're going to do the right thing here for LaMarcus, for his health. And while he has been a great contributor to this team during his time here, he's by no means their number one guy. Kawhi is the guy, and he's a great two-man to Kawhi. But they've got a lot of young guys. They've got a lot of old guys too on that team where they can kind of fill out, and they don't need him every night. So I think even if he does, come back mid-first round or so, he'll have time to work his way back into this rotation. I'm not overly concerned. Like you said, the regular season, they're comfy. They're good. And Pop, who's to say Pop wasn't going to start pulling Pop moves and resting people anyway? Just cuz,
I mean, we got the D-League game going on tonight because of injury, but Pop could also have said, nope, I'm resting him.
Yeah, I was going to say, the injury side was on the Spurs.
We're playing LeBron. I'm sorry, my top guys aren't playing against LeBron.
Yeah. So it'll be really interesting. Now, the big thing is here, this is multiple teams with big guys out as we approach the end of the season. So you've got LaMarcus out in San Antonio. You have KD, you mentioned. We have over in the East for the Cavs, you have Kevin Love. 3 big guys out from the 3 top teams in the NBA. Do you think this is kind of a sign that the scheduling in the NBA is affecting players more?
I have said,
I know freak injuries happen, but
I have said this since we had the lockout season. We should go to a schedule that is exactly like the lockout season. Have it to where day 1 of the season is Christmas Day. You play the same amount of time. So you play the end of the season still the same. You just, to me, cut that period from Halloween to Christmas. Because for me, it's like, you're saying, well, Ricky, that's less home games. That's less this, less that. Let's be honest. During that time, maybe I'm using my own, what I would do in that situation. Between up until Christmas, I'm not focusing on the NBA. I'm focusing on the NFL. I'm watching those football games.
You're a casual fan, and that's
I am
the
watching
thing.
college football. I'm watching NFL before I would even tune in to an NBA game. Plus, it's one of those things where I felt that lockout season was the most invested I was in an NBA season. I mean, just the excitement of Christmas Day being the opening game. You had those five
a stacked lineup,
the five lineup of games. You can just go out there and throw your Lakers, Boston, your Chicago, Cleveland. You can throw all your good ones. You can even have Cleveland, Golden State. You can still have those primetime matchups right as the number one game on the schedule. And I don't think if we had less games, it would hinder from an experience in the NBA. Plus, you'd be able to save some guys, and you wouldn't have teams going, hey, we're going to go rest mode.
Yeah, that's a fair argument to make. I think I don't necessarily agree with you. I'm a little bit more of a hardcore fan for the NBA, so I did enjoy the early season. I do love to see, give me as much content as I can get. I'll soak it all up. For me personally, I think it's just the poor scheduling of back-to-backs and, how many 5 and 6s, how many 12 out of 18s, and how bunched up and clumped this season has been. And then the travel as well. Like I was flipping through and I saw some interesting stats about how Golden State has, their schedule is moving them 35,000 miles this year, while Cleveland is only 20,000 miles. So you have to encounter travel because West Coast teams will have to travel more than East Coast teams or Midwest teams. All this stuff kind of fills in and makes the season so much longer and puts so much more on the NBA players to stay able and healthy. I think that they need to either, I'm on the other side with you, I think they need to almost space the season out better. And I think part of this that kind of sucks is, how they expanded out that all-star break, give guys a couple more days here or there. Well, that pushed all the games closer together because they didn't end the season later. They didn't start it later. No. We're keeping everything the same. We're just pushing it out a little bit. Everybody gets more games closer together. I understand you want to break mid-season. Fine. But then we need to move opening or we need to move the last day of the regular season.
I would not be firm. I would not be against shortening the season at all either, giving some less games.
I'm not against it, but it throws things out of whack.
If it means the less games it's going to be one of two things. You keep the same amount of games. I know this is a total different conversation we'll get back to LaMarcus Aldridge, but it's either one of two things. You keep the same amount of games and you fix those back-to-backs and the travel, or you go less amount of games and then you can have more back-to-backs, but still fixing the travel. Because the one thing I will throw in there is I've heard the Herd talk about it this week, where the one stretch I'm going to look at for the Warriors, they were in Philly, then Washington, Chicago, New York, Atlanta, then coming back for Boston, and then going to Minnesota. I'm sorry, just Chicago, New York, Atlanta, back home, Minnesota, and home. If I just flew to those places and didn't even play an NBA game, I'd be tired because of the time difference.
Absolutely.
I would be tired. But going back to the Spurs, going back to LaMarcus Aldridge injury, I think that this is one of those, if he misses a significant amount of time, I think this could not kill their title hopes, but put a huge hinder on the Spurs' title hopes. I think they need, in order for me to say the Spurs are going to take on I'll say the Rockets and the Warriors are the two teams, to take those two teams on in a best-of-7 series, and for sure for me to say confidently that the Spurs will win that series, they need both Kawhi and LaMarcus to do so.
I absolutely agree with you. And the biggest thing is you got to look at the impact he's made in the past with the Spurs. And like I said, he wasn't always the one guy for them, but man, he came up big in a couple series over the last 2 years with them in the playoffs. You look at last year, they opened up against Memphis. He's down there going low against Gasol and fighting, and he did struggle a little bit, but he's still 17, 10, 16, 15. But then where we really saw his effectiveness was that OKC series. He opened up 38, 41, 24. He's a guy who can absolutely take over games. So I think that, we're saying for the regular season, it's okay, take your time, rest up, come back. But I think there are some scares for some of those series where if you watch the matchups, they absolutely need to rely on him. Yeah, having David Lee back for whatever small role he's played has been nice. Having Gasol weirdly come off the bench for them has worked out. Dwayne Dedmon's given them some great energy to their lineup, but you need someone like LaMarcus Aldridge who can dominate a game and absolutely take over down low, and that shot stretches out the floor for them.
The Strot selection.
The Strot stretches out the floor for them so well. I think that he is a requirement for them to get out of the second round. I think first round, Kawhi can take over. We've seen what he can do, and he's grown so much more confidence this season. Where at the end of last year in the playoffs, where they faltered was because they didn't really have that one guy stand out. Like we saw even, God, we watched Tim Duncan be the dominant guy. I know he was retiring that year, and it was like, why are we still defaulting to you? This Kawhi should be out here. He should be running it. And no, it was like Duncan was still the guy. So I think that you absolutely need Kawhi to step up, and you need LaMarcus Aldridge to have any chance of getting outside of that second round. First round, I'll give you.
I don't know. The one thing I
Matchup,
was going to throw out there, because right now some Spurs fans might be looking at what the playoff matchups are, and right now it would be the 2-seeded Spurs against the 7th-seeded Memphis Grizzlies.
Oh, no.
Memphis has been known to knock the Spurs out in the first round before.
Everyone hates Memphis.
In a 7-2 series.
Everyone hates Memphis in the playoffs. Can I just say, like, I talk so much garbage about Memphis before the season. It's because they play unsexy basketball. I respect the crap out of what Marcus All does. He definitely doesn't get enough credit for the amount of work he puts in, the amount of dominance he has. He's been a staple on that team and a staple in the playoffs because of how good he is. But, man, I just don't want to see that matchup. Now you got me worrying a little.
Let me put it this way. If things hold out and it is Spurs-Grizzlies, can the Spurs win confidently, let's say if LaMarcus Aldridge is still out with the arrhythmia?
Oh, man.
If he's out, but Kawhi, you get Kawhi, you don't have LaMarcus, are the Spurs a definite for sure going on, or is it the Grizzlies have a chance? So
I think it's going to 6, but I think the Spurs would win it. It scares me. That is, I like how his confidence. Like, yeah, they can make it the first round. They're like Memphis. I'm like, fuck. You know what?
Anybody but Memphis.
Good
right?
point. Good point, sir.
Anyone but Memphis.
I'll give them the series in 6. I think Spurs still will make it out. But it's just they have such good depth. They have such good playoff. They have great playoff experience. They've got veterans. They're a deeper roster. So I really do like the Spurs team, even without LaMarcus, to edge out Memphis. But anywhere past there, and that's asking a lot.
And the one thing what's really funny right now? Guess how many games back the 6th and the 7th are in the West?
Surprise me.
They're both 16. And guess who the 6 is? The Thunder. So we could see Spurs Thunder in the first round. Kawhi, Russ.
That would be a wonderful matchup.
But could the Spurs beat the Thunder without LaMarcus? I'll throw that one at you.
So
it's the same answer. They get it in 6.
You know me. Look, okay, the triple-double machine, Westbrook out there is just a monster, but I don't want to give it to.
They now have Taj down low.
I know, and that's why I'm second guessing myself.
So you rather see the Grizzlies than the Thunder?
Can I go to 7?
You could go to 7. I'll allow it. I'll be a gracious host, but I think that just to put the final kibosh on it, it's going to depend on how long he is out for.
Absolutely.
And with this, I say if I'm the Spurs, if you have to give him the rest of the regular season, you do it. Honestly, you give him as long as he needs to.
Absolutely.
But it's one of those things where if he says, hey, you know what, I can come back 2 games before the playoffs, don't even worry about it.
Yeah.
You'll start game 1.
No, and the difference maker here between his timeout and Kevin Durant's is Kevin Durant will need time to get himself back into playing shape, trusting his knee again, and being able
There's nothing to trust here.
Right. This is just going to be a little bit of conditioning. He can work on that once he gets healthy. I've got no concerns about LaMarcus coming back once he's medically cleared. The Kevin Durant thing will be interesting because that pulling him out of there completely changed this Warriors team. I think LaMarcus Aldridge out. It's not a slight to say it, but it's only a minor tweak for this San Antonio team because they're a team-centric
and like
group.
You said,
they're not super dependent on him.
Like you said, they also have other guys that have been picking up and giving them solid minutes down the road. But this is where you guys come in. Let us know down below. What do you guys think? Is this going to kill the Spurs' title hopes? How is this going to affect their title hopes? Let us know down below in the comment section.
Thank you. Oh, shit. Oh, it's just one of our videos scared me a little bit. Don't forget to check out that one. And also don't forget to check out patreon.com/mostvaluablepodcast. But thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.